Hey, hey, Tiger fans, how's it going? Today is a great day to be a Clemson Tiger. Now, that's every day, but it's even special today because it was the first day of fall practice. Football is almost here, and we are under a month away from Clemson versus Georgia in the season opener. So Clemson football's back, and so are we at Around the Paul. This is season 2, episode 1. I'm Garrett Mitchell along with Clifton Kennedy. Griffin will be back. He's still back at home in New Jersey. He's enjoying the last little bit of his summer vacation. We'll have Griffin back really soon, and we'll be happy to have him. But Cliff, it's always when you get to this juncture and you hit August, you know the season, it's essentially here. It's go time, baby. He'll watch is under 31 days. Yeah, and look, I mean, it's, I think there's a lot to be excited about in Clemson. And we're coming off of ACC Media Days. That was late last week. And I thought a lot of good stuff coming out of ACC Media Days. And, first and foremost, what stood out to me was there's a lot of confidence exuding from this Clemson team.
There sure is. Everywhere you go, man, and especially at ACC Media Days, and again before that at Clemson Media Days, there was just a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of excitement. I heard the words "not injured." There are a lot of. We are very healthy, so that's really good. And
the two most important words in the English language as far as Clemson football is concerned right now.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So I am very excited to about this episode, and it's going to be a great season, man.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, and. One thing that, and we heard a lot of things at ACC Media Days, but one thing that we kept hearing is, and, I know until fans see it, they might be a little bit skeptical because the last time they saw Cade Klubnik was in the spring game, and they might have walked away saying, well, he didn't look the best in the world. They're still skeptical whether or not he can get the job done. But look, if you ask Dabo Swinney and Garrett Riley and anybody else on that Clemson staff, what they're saying is that Cade Klubnik has really matured even more over the summer and is in a great spot mentally and physically to take the reins of this Clemson offense and make it as good as it's been in the last 3 seasons. So in your mind, what are your thoughts on that? And do you believe the hype, or is it one of these things where we just have to wait and see once everybody's on the field?
First and foremost, he got a new haircut. So if nothing else, he changed a little bit with the haircut, and just listening to him talk at ACC Media Days, you can just tell there's a new swagger, it's a new season, and you can just tell something's different. So I'm kind of one of those people who I want to see it on the field. And I think we're gonna get we're gonna know what we have that first game of the season, because again we're getting thrown into the fire, and it's kind of being thrown around as the toughest game to start a season. So we'll see, man. I'm excited. I think the running back position is going to be great, but I think Cade he's the head of the offense, and everything goes through him, I think, and Mafah. But everything starts with Cade. So we'll see how it goes.
Right. And look, we're going to talk about here in a few minutes the running back battle that's taking shape behind Phil Mafah. And look, Mafah, he's obviously RB1. He's waited his turn. He's assuming that mantle now that Will Shipley's playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to talk about that competition for the second and third running back spots, but I want to go back and hop back to what you were talking about, the words finally healthy being used at media days. And one area where there's been so much attrition for the Clemson football program has been at wide receiver. And we talk about Klubnik's struggles, and I think it could be perhaps a little bit unfair to put all of it on his shoulders. There have been times where he just has not had a cohesive and healthy wide receiving core to get the ball to. That appears to be completely opposite now as we go into this 2024 season. You've got all of you guys back. They're healthy. They're seasoned. And, oh, by the way, they're joined by 2 stud 5-stars in TJ Moore and Bryant Wesco. My personal opinion, take it to the bank if you want to or throw it in the trash. I don't care either way, but I think this Clemson receiving room is going to be really, really good.
Yeah, I do too. It's going to be awesome. And I am excited to see who steps up and who shows out, man. Because that wide receiver room last year was not productive, not very productive. And I mean, there were spurts during the year, but they just didn't have the spark and didn't have that guy because of injuries. There were a lot of injuries, but nobody likes to use that excuse of we were injured, but they were injured, and but we just didn't have the guys, right? We didn't have the dudes, and so I think this year we got the dudes. We'll see, like, how the 2 freshmen do coming out of the gate, you know, and we'll go from there. You know, I don't want to put a lot of pressure on those guys. I'm glad we have depth and we don't have to depend on those guys solely. So I think Adam Randall, I think he's gonna have a breakout year. I said that last year, but I
Kentucky,
really feel that.
He really showed flashes against Kentucky in the Gator Bowl.
Yeah, he definitely did, and so we'll see how that goes. You know, you got a bunch of talent in that wide receiver room, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Right. There certainly is. And I like this team top to bottom. And look, the defense speaks for itself. Yeah, this Clemson defense, man, it goes without saying, but they've got some dudes. And, we were leading into talking about Barrett Carter. And we heard from him at ACC Media Days. And Barrett Carter, man, you talk about a guy who looks and sounds locked in. These Clemson guys who choose to forego the NFL draft, they don't turn pro, and they come back, they so often cite unfinished business. Barrett Carter looks to me like he's got about 3 years of unfinished business left to attend to.
Yeah, I really think so. He looked very focused and acted very focused at ACC Media Days. Even saying he had a quote that was like, "We're gonna come out day one and we're gonna look like we were meant to be there," something to that effect. I really think that Barrett Carter is going to be the guy, along with Sammy Brown. I know Sammy Brown's a freshman, but the way Barrett Carter talked about Sammy Brown, he's one of the biggest dudes that he's ever seen, is basically what he said. And that's saying a lot for a freshman. And I saw him in person last year at Wren, and Sammy Brown is a dude. So, but yeah, back to Barrett Carter. He's focused and he's ready to play. So,
yeah. And look, as we go, this is just episode 1 of season 2, guys, and we're going to be talking a lot more about the defense here in the next 3.5 weeks leading up to the Georgia game. This is just the appetizer and the hors d'oeuvre platter. So, a lot more to break down, a lot more to get to as we approach the season. But another storyline that's kind of been a part of this Clemson team going into 2024 is who would assume the backup running back roles behind Phil Mafah. As we said a few moments ago, Mafah's he's your RB1. It's undisputed. Nobody's questioning that. But you've got 2 guys who are really, really battling it out behind him. And Cliff, those are Keith Adams Jr. and incoming freshman, or not incoming, he's already there, is David Ezume. These are 2 talented guys, and guys who provide not only quality depth, but when you put them out there, they can make plays. So your thoughts on the running back battle taking shape behind Mafah? Who's got the upper hand?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I want to give credit to Angelo. I can't really say his last name, but But yeah, he's one of our riders. Great guy. He does a lot of recruiting for us. So if you hadn't seen all the recruiting articles on the site yet, you'll definitely see a lot because that's his sole job. So
call him Awesome
yeah,
Angela because he's
yes,
awesome.
right, awesome. He is. He's a great rider. Great guy. But yeah, I think it starts out with Keith Adams Jr. and Azuame. And don't forget about Jay Haynes.
Yes.
Ever since he's been at Clemson, I know we didn't mention him, but he's mentioned in the article, and I think he is healthier than I think he's ever been since he's been at Clemson. Because I think all last year he had one good run that I can remember, and then he was hurt the rest of the season. But yeah, man, I think Keith Adams Jr. Is a little. Man, he's a little firecracker, man, and he's got a low center of gravity. Yeah, he's got a low center of gravity, and I think you'll see him if something, if Mafah, needs a break or something, you'll see him, and then I think by the end of the season, Azuame will take over that RB2 position. If Jay Haynes doesn't show up, if he shows up, who knows? I mean, you got 3 running backs. They're all young. And so we'll see, man. I think that Azuame's got the credibility, I think, because he's, wasn't he was a 4-star, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's got the stars by his name and everything, but I think in the end he'll probably take over RB1, but you never know, man. Well, I think Dabo said it in a breakout room at ACC Media Days that he's really excited about this running back room, and we'll see where it goes, man. You just never know. But we do need to find an RB2. We do need to find one soon because we definitely don't want something to happen to Mafah, and then we'd be like, what do we do? What do we do at running back?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. But I like this running back room in Cliff. As far as I'm concerned, they're rock solid. Now, speaking of rock solid, before we move on, we want to give a shout out to our newest sponsor here at Clemson Sports Media, and that's Ventura Concrete of Greenville, South Carolina. You can transform your property with the help of our expert concrete services, and at Ventura Concrete Greenville, we pride ourselves on delivering top-notch licensed and insured concrete services to homeowners all across the Greenville area. And by the way, Ventura Concrete, it is Clemson owned. It is Tigers serving Tigers. So check out Ventura Concrete. You can find them at their website at venturaconcretegvl.com. So check them out. We're happy to have them on board. So
great guy too, great owner. So
no doubt about it. Now we talk about this Clemson team. They're locked in, they're focused, they're talented. And now the experts are beginning to weigh in as well, where teams are ranked. And, everybody has their own opinion, and there are certain sayings growing up in the rural country South about opinions and what carries with them. But let's talk about the media poll. And these are the ACC preseason rankings according to the writers. Those are out now, and surprise, surprise, Clemson's not number 1. They're number 2, but Florida State is ranked number 1 per the media in the preseason ACC poll. What is your thought about that? Look, I know Florida State won at Death Valley last year. They shouldn't have. Kick a 29-yard field goal right down the middle, and you're going to win that game. Don't fumble the ball on a botched play. You're going to win that game. Sorry. I'm biased. I have purple and orange glasses on, but even if I take them off, I don't see in any conceivable universe Florida State being better, deeper, and more talented than this Clemson team.
Well, here's the first thing. On offense, right? Let's just talk about offense at Florida State. They have a quarterback that has been to 3 different colleges, counting Florida State. And he was at Clemson, right?
In 3 years.
So,
three universities in 3 years.
Yeah. And to me, he's, I don't want to talk bad about him because I am, but I mean, I was grateful for his time
DJ,
at
great
Clemson.
kid, and I don't think anybody's going to say he's not. But at the same time, you can be a great person and not be a great football player. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing about that offense. They have one receiver that has 14 yards, and that's all they have returning from last year on the receivers. Yes, they have transfers that have done it other places. Okay, whatever. But I don't think their transfer class is anything like last year.
No.
And it's not. And I just don't see it. And I think Georgia Tech might beat them the first game of the year. That's just my opinion. But it could be a game over in, I think, London or wherever they're playing, Dublin, Ireland, or something like that. They're playing somewhere overseas. And
look, if they get beat by Georgia Tech in the first game, look at it this way. They will always have their self-proclaimed college football playoff banner to keep them warm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Look, I've been to Ireland. It does get pretty chilly over there. They might need it.
Yeah. Yeah. They might. It's I've never been there. I would like to. I think it'd be cool. But
yeah. So
I just don't see that happening. Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't necessarily either, but Clemson came in at number 2. Now, right behind the Tigers and I was a little bit surprised by this. It's not the most shocking thing I've ever seen in my life, but I was almost expecting NC State to be ranked 3rd in the opening media poll. They were ranked 4th. It's the Miami Hurricanes that come in that 3rd spot. And again, maybe the ACC is living up to its reputation of not being a great top-to-bottom football conference. I don't know. I digress. But I just don't think Miami is that good.
Yeah. Well, I think when I voted on the poll, I think I put Clemson 1. I think I might have put Florida State like number 4, and I think I put NC State 2 and Miami 3. I think that's how I did it. And then let's see, who did I put number 5? I can't even remember. I know I put probably Virginia Tech 5. I think I might even put Virginia Tech number 5.
I think
they're going to be good.
They'll be better. I think they'll be a pretty solid football team this year.
Yep, and I put newcomers SMU. I put them in the middle of the pack because I think just from hearing from stuff at media days about them, I think they're going to be good. And just because it's things they had good going last season, so they're moving to a new conference. But I still think they got the talent to be middle of the road in the conference.
Right, and it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. But the good news for Clemson, or you can call it good news if you want to, but fans won't have to wait too terribly long, whether you're a Clemson fan or somebody like Paul Feinbaum who just thinks that Dabo Swinney and the Tigers are has-beens. Won't have to wait very long to find out whether they're right or wrong. Because according to some media prognosticators, Clemson has the toughest opening to the season in college football. And we're not just talking about the Georgia game. That goes without saying as well. But Clemson also has Appalachian State thrown in there as well. I believe that's game number 2, if I'm not mistaken. And then,
and then you got NC State.
Yeah, and then you've got Florida State. So it could be argued.
Well, you got NC State. You got NC State, 3rd game of the season.
Right, and then Florida State behind them. I believe I'm not looking at the schedule right offhand. So you've got arguably your 4 hardest games in the first 4 games of the year. If you come out of that 4-0 or 3-1, and God forbid you lose to Georgia, but you're 3-1, then I think everybody can safely and comfortably say at that point that this Clemson team is not only for real, but that they are a legitimate threat to make the college football playoff, especially with the expansion to 12 teams.
Yeah, I definitely sorry, my dog was barking, so I had to mute myself. But yeah, I think, if Clemson comes out of the gate and takes care of business, those first 5-6 games of the year, I I know we'll make it to the college football playoff. And then it's just a matter of, who falls into our lap and who we play, and how the dominoes fall or whatever, to see how the playoff goes. But that's all way down the road, and we need to take care of business in the first 6 games, and if we can do that, then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no doubt. And look, I, for one, am really excited about opening up with Georgia, because I think it's a good measuring stick right out of the gate. At Clemson, we're not going to sit here and say we like anything about Georgia, but the fact remains they have won 2 of the last 3 national championships, and we're within a few seconds from having a chance to have a 3-peat last year. It's a good program. You don't have to like it, but it's true. They're a really good program right now, and it's Clemson's turn. If they want to be taken seriously, they have to have a game against a team like Georgia, an upper echelon program. They have to win that game and prove that they're getting back to where they used to be and where they expect to be.
Yeah, I think I've said at the Georgia game, I think Cade's got to have a great game, and I think they're gonna have to mix it up, right? They're gonna have to have enough pass to where Mafah can take care of business, because this is just me, and we wrote an article about this too a while back. But I think Mafah is going to have over 1,500 yards rushing, if not more.
Could easily see it.
Because,
Could easily see it.
Oh yeah, last year in a part-time role he had 900, over 900 in a part-time role. So if he does the same thing this year, that's 1,800 yards.
Right. And look,
in a full-time role.
And you think back to last year, Notre Dame game first. Put the team on his back, carried him against Notre Dame, and that was a huge win. Then you turn around in the Gator Bowl against Kentucky. And look, personally, I don't think that game should really have ever been close, but is what it is. We won the ball game, but we won that ball game thanks to Phil Mafah. 4 touchdowns, 3 of them in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. You
want to talk about putting a team on your back and saying, follow me, we're not going to lose this game. That's exactly what Phil Mafah did. And to my eye, if this Clemson team reaches a situation or reaches a point in a ball game where nothing else is working and they need somebody to carry them, put the team on his back, it's Phil Mafah. I think he is truly capable of doing that if and when the situation requires it.
Yep. I totally agree. And I don't even think this, and this is another thing. I don't even think our offensive line has to be great. I think our offensive line just needs to do enough, and Phil Mafah is going to get 6 yards, 6 yards every carry. Yeah. If they just do their job. And I think that takes a lot of pressure off Cade, especially in that first game of the season, right, against Georgia. Yeah. If Phil Mafah can get 5 yards, 6 yards a carry, and Cade can just do enough in the passing game, to keep them off balance, I think we do great. Here's the thing. If we do good in that area and we lose by 3 points, I hate to say this, but I'm okay with that. Because I think that is us going in the right direction. But I think we can win. I really do.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Especially with all the trouble that Georgia's having right now with people getting arrested and stuff like that and doing stupid stuff. Well,
look. So, let me drop this in here. I did a piece, and you can find it on our website, ClemsonSportsMedia.com. Numbers came out, and it's talking about the GSR, which stands for Graduation Success Rate among FBS programs, of which there are 130 of them. Clemson football graduates 99% of its players. That's not conjecture. That is hardcore statistical facts. Clemson graduates 99% of its players, and that's players who have turned pro and who come back to school in the offseason or when time permits to finish their degrees as well. That is number one in the country. Nobody's better. Georgia, on the other hand, has a GSR, a graduation success rate, of 41%. It is dead last out of 130 teams in the FBS. In their own conference, the next lowest in the SEC is LSU at 69%. That is staggering. And so
Crazy.
you talk about not only having a chance. I think we can beat Georgia as well. Again, come at me if you want. It's my opinion. I'm sure some Georgia fans will be visiting us in the comments, and of course, we will welcome their thoughts. But you talk about Georgia players being in handcuffs, and when you look at these graduation success rates right now, I'd venture to say more of their players spend time in handcuffs than they do in the classroom.
Yeah, and that's sad, but yeah, it's
crazy.
Crazy.
That's my shot over the bow, by the way.
Yeah.
Bring it, baby.
Yeah.
Bring it.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Look, I've got a friend of mine who's a Georgia fan. He lives down in South Central Georgia. Once this episode goes up on YouTube, I may send him the link and say, hey, spread it to all your buddies around Athens.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I promise you, California won't be the only place you see a firestorm.
I hear you. That's
awesome.
My
gosh. It's July 31st. We're already in mid-season form. Who would have imagined that?
I know, right? I know. It's great.
Well, I'll tell you what. Look, we've talked about a lot of good stuff. We want to save some stuff for once practice starts tomorrow, August 1st. But we do have one other thing we want to talk about before we finish off this episode. We want to have a little bit of fun with this. But, Cliff, you sent me a story that was published on ESPN today, written by one of their esteemed staff writers, Bill Connolly. And there's a bit of sarcasm when I say esteemed because, frankly, there's nothing esteemed about this opinion that he put out there. But it is his list of the 25 best college football players of the 21st century. And now for those who are a bit time challenged, that would be beginning in the year 1999, end of 1999, 2000. So we're talking the last 23, 24 years. Now, spoiler, Trevor Lawrence is not on the list. Deshaun Watson is at 16th. So maybe Bill Connolly would like to explain how he came to that conclusion. But I want to pick this apart for a little bit because you and I were talking about this before this episode started. In his list of the 25 best players of the 21st century, he has Ndamukong Suh ranked number 1. What?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said when I saw that. I was like, the guy had one good season. Like, come on.
And look, I do not want to give Bill Connolly any credit for this because his opinions are incredibly misguided and, quite frankly, flat out wrong. But in his justification for ranking Ndamukong Suh the best college football player of the 21st century, I'm just going to read the last two sentences of what he said. A 4-star prospect from Oregon, Suh enjoyed 3 good years. 3 good years. That word's key. Good, not great. 3 good years before posting one of the most devastating individual seasons in college football history. And he references the 2009 season. He had 20 and a half tackles for loss, 12 sacks, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. It was a great season. 1 great season out of 4 does not make you the best college football player of the last 24 years. Spare me.
Yep.
Deshaun Watson is better than Ndamukong Suh. Granted, one's offense, granted, one's defense. But when you look at career accomplishments, Suh never sniffed a national championship. Watson won one. And not only that, he was a friggin' 2-time first-team All-American. The dude lost, 2 games over his last 2 years as a starter. He was 28-2. Is the only quarterback in the modern era to put up a combined over 1,000 yards of offense personally against the Alabama Crimson Tide in the 2015 and 16 national championship games. Ask Nick Saban how good he is. Come on, man. Connolly. Come on, dude.
That's bad, man.
I mean, if you're looking for clickbait, you might want to dip back into your can of night crawlers and get a fresh one, because that's pretty played out, dude.
Yeah, he didn't even get a call to the Heisman. Deshaun got a call to the Heisman
and should have won it.
Yeah,
it should have won it because the guy that won it, Watson, beat him head to head and went on to win the national championship, while Lamar Jackson, and that's who we're talking about, by the way, lost 3 games.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying Lamar Jackson is not great, because he's done excellent in the NFL. But he beat him head to head in one of the best games I've seen in a long time. And besides the Notre Dame game, that game was excellent. But yeah, I mean, Deshaun Watson, and on this show, we might be a little biased because it's a Clemson show, whatever. But I mean, I even think that he's better than Baker Mayfield. Deshaun's better than Baker Mayfield. Who's number 2?
He's got Baker Mayfield at number 2. Again, I think there needs to be certain criteria when you're evaluating things like this. And look, I get it. It's an opinion. We all have them. But at least try to permeate your opinion with a slight dash of credibility. One thing that makes an opinion credible is if you have facts to back it up. And a cold hard fact is Deshaun Watson is a national champion. Baker Mayfield is not.
I think Vince Young should have been number 1.
Right, and I could abide by that. Certainly Vince Young is top 5, and when you go down the list, I believe, let's see, he's got Vince Young at number 4, but I would go a little bit higher than that. He's got Cam Newton at number 3. Okay, Newton had a great college career, but when I look through the top 16 on this list, 15
he's got
players,
Ed Reed at number 5, which
he's got 15 players ranked ahead of Deshaun Watson. And Clifton, of the 15 players he's got ranked ahead of Watson, 10 of them never won a national championship. So exactly what criteria are we basing this on?
Yeah, his criteria is way off, especially leaving Trevor Lawrence off. And Trevor Lawrence won a national championship in his freshman season.
Right.
That was one of the best seasons I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
He had 30 touchdowns to 4 interceptions that entire year. Like, who does that?
Right. And look, he's got guys on there that are certainly deserving to be in the top 10. Tim Tebow at number 6, Reggie Bush at number 7. But then you've got, Bryant McKinney, who was an offensive tackle for Miami on this great Miami team. Sure, good player. Probably a great player on a great team. But that doesn't mean that you're one of the 25 best players of the last 23 years. Joe Burrow had a phenomenal final season at LSU. In 3 seasons prior to that, he was average to below average. Deshaun Watson was elite for 3 seasons. Terrell Suggs, Arizona State, at number 11. Offensive tackle Joe Thomas from Wisconsin at number 12. Linebacker Khalil Mack from Buffalo at number 13. Defensive tackle Aaron Donald from Pittsburgh at 14. Defensive end David Pollock, who, by the way, you might recognize him from ESPN now. He's at number 15. All very good players. That doesn't make all of them better than Deshaun Watson, because I hate to break it to Bill Connolly. They're not all better than Deshaun Watson. As a matter of fact, very few of them are. And to circle back around to the original point, Trevor Lawrence, hello.
Yeah. That's what got me about this whole article, was he didn't even put Trevor Lawrence in the article except as a what do you call it? A runner up or whatever the heck you want to call it. The first 10 out is what he calls it. And Trevor Lawrence
essentially is what he's saying
number
is
8.
Trevor Lawrence
is
not
number
even one of the 35 best players of the 21st century.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is number 8 on the first the first 10 out. Shoot. Robert Griffin III is not even on that list.
And dude was a Heisman Trophy winner. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Dwight Freeney is not even on that list. Michael Crabtree.
Christian McCaffrey is his first 10 out. Christian McCaffrey is 10th on that first 10 out. Calvin Johnson, Megatron from Georgia Tech, probably the most dominant college receiver I've ever seen. He and Sammy Watkins might be the two best that I have seen, personally.
Yep.
I mean, look, I don't know where he got his criteria from, but the list is utterly, patently, and unequivocally wrong. And that is not only my opinion, that is statistical fact. Bill Connolly, dude, I sincerely pray that was your one bad one before the season gets started, because it was really, really stinking bad.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it was bad. And I've probably never seen a list worse than that one. It was pretty bad. So
rancid.
Yeah.
I've got rotten tomatoes that have fallen off the vine in my garden that smell better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. So,
but you know what? Hey, we had to have a little fun with it. You sent me that today, and we were just scheming up ways that we could pick the list apart. We could probably sit here and conjecture for another hour about it, but we'll let the fans go make up their own mind, and I'm sure that most Clemson fans are probably going to agree with us. And frankly, the thoughts and opinions of family matter more to me anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sure. Clemson family, weigh in. Did David Pollock, or not David Pollock, he's on the list, excuse me, did Bill Connolly, did he mess this one up? Did he fumble his first story of the college football season, or did he hold on to the rock? You just let us know in the comments. And drop us a comment anyway, and let us know how good you feel about this Clemson football team. Are you excited that Tiger football is back? We're under a month away now from the first game in Mercedes-Benz Stadium against the Georgia Bulldogs. We're excited. I hope you are too. And we're glad to be back here on Around the Paul. And as I said, Griffin will be back with us coming up in the next couple of weeks once he gets back on campus. He'll get settled in. We can't wait to have our guy back. And it is a lot to look forward to. We can't hardly wait to get started. So give us a like and a subscribe. If you like what we do, don't be afraid to tackle those buttons. Give us a share. We love to hear from you. So my name is Garrett Mitchell. If you didn't join us last season, we welcome you in. We hope you'll stay for a while. Joined by Clifton Kennedy, Griffin Barfield will be along shortly. But for us at Around the Paul and at Clemson Sports Media, we say so long for now. It's always a great day to be a Clemson Tiger. It's football time, and we'll catch you soon.
Yep. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.